Yo, what's up, guys? Damnation-n-Hellfire here with another rousing episode of Battle Pirates Crow's Nest. This one is called Bounty and Thinking Thoughts. And of course, as always, I got Doomsday Rebel here.
What's good?
And I got some other guy here. I don't know who the hell he is. I found him floating on a lake, and I was like, "Hey, have you ever played this game called Battle Pirates? Come on in, do a show with me." Now, of course, that's Ross Crow. What's up, Ross?
Good evening, everyone.
The only bass boat that looks like a dreadnought on the water.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So I guess we're just going to jump right into it. We got 20 slides to go over, and I know the last three are going to take a while, so we're going to jump right in and start talking about the TLCs, I suppose. So you guys will have to remember which ones I told you were doing, because I sure don't remember.
Yeah.
So first one is Devil Driver. Go.
Yeah, the Devil Driver. This is the one that's probably going to help the majority of the player base out. They got the free bat raise. And you may wonder, why do you need this? Well, there's tokens in here that you can use to refit them to your liking. So if you can, knock this out, and you'll be able to, like I said, refit however you see fit. A couple specials anyway, because um, I had to do that to mine, and it made it a lot better. So I think having the tokens will give the creativity to the players who have those now, so they can soup them up a little bit.
I guess we just have to hope they have the Makaras to be able to do the campaign, though.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true. So seems like I did this a while back, and it seemed like I made it through maybe Prospect 2 or 3 with Skyfires and Phoenixes, but I had to use both fleets, of course. You know, seems
Yeah.
like seems like this one's definitely
So
not as bad as the flagship, of course.
yeah, for sure. So what do you end up with? Like what, 7 days worth of build tokens, I think.
Yeah, and then everything
So
else
yeah,
you pretty much already have, and the free ones are already skull. But I mean, if you got your other fleet you're working on, if like players who got 2 fleets now, there's still some VXP tokens here that they can soup up the ones that they were working on. And
yeah. I mean, 7 seems like a good amount for doing refits to tweak that fleet that they gave you. It definitely that seems actually like a really close amount to what you would probably need to get it up into what I would consider working order.
yeah, I mean, you definitely get the armors on there, and a couple specials, or maybe some counters, another counter or two. So.
Well, then of course to go with that one, we got this one.
Yeah, this is the one that hurts.
Uh,
So, but I haven't tried it this time. I don't know if they've tuned it down, which from previous ones we've seen, it didn't really seem like it does much. So, but you never know. I just so much going on right now, I can't test it, to be honest. But if you can do it, you get your Gathering Storms, your VXP, some more tokens for your Brennus. And so if you're still trying to work on your flagship and you can do this, this is something you can get some tokens on. And the Gathering Storm, so you don't have to worry about shards.
yeah.
3 of them.
So, like, what do you think about right now? This kind of only has to do with this in a side fashion, but what do you think about right now the fact that we're back to people happen to have 2 Brennises? If they had one built already and got one in that first little glitch, they can now fucking freely use them and not have to worry about anything. I'll be honest. I'll be honest. If it stays that way, I'm gonna get a little pissed off because they've been spouting all this since it first came out. You need to scrap it. You need to scrap it. You need to scrap it. And if I scrap mine, and now they're gonna make it to where you can actually have and use both of them, I'm gonna be freaking hot about that.
I am already that guy. I had to, and I scrapped it because and now you can launch both. And so, yeah, I put in tickets in for a week and no response. And I saw player after player, and rightfully so, being going on what they were, whatever, however they know or whatever, that being told to scrap it. And so I did scrap it, and now I can launch it. So I'm pretty thrilled about that whole thing. Yeah, it didn't work out too well. I even read a post, originally. It just hasn't worked out well for me. But it is what it is. It's a fleet I didn't have in the first place, so I don't have it now.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the thing that just really irritates me, and I should preface this too by saying we don't know if it's going to stay that way. But I will say, though, that if it does stay that way, I'm not only going to be mad because, how it affected me, but I'm mad because as somebody who tries to get all this news out that they put forward out to the community, so Kix told me to tell people to scrap that. So I told people to scrap that, and I know a lot of people that scrapped it based on me telling them to do that because that's what I was told to tell them. And now if it comes back that they didn't have to do that, that's going to fucking make me look really like shit too. And I don't appreciate that at all.
No, and I understand that. And because I'm not trying to, I wasn't seeing meaning you, because I saw it by many people, on many pages and by saying scrap it. So it's just hard because in all honesty, the only part that really upsets me is that I couldn't get a support ticket answered on the issue when I asked directly. So that's entirely my only issue with it. It was a free fleet to begin with, so scrap it. Oh well, and actually I get some parts on it that I'll need moving forward. So I am in the end okay with it all. Just better communication would have helped, and so that's what it is for me. Just better communication would have helped.
But maybe they didn't know actually what was happening, or what would happen. So the safest thing to tell us was, based on how the code's written and the security measures we have in place. At the time, it did seem logical, kind of what they were saying, but in the end, if if people do get too, I mean, it's going to suck.
Well, honestly, the most logical thing would have just been raise the limit to 2 and leave it at that. That would have been the most logical thing.
Well, absolutely. What's it matter if you got 2 flagships? If you break both of them, you got to repair both of them. I mean,
I know, right?
No, and that's the truth. And it means they're going to use them, I guess. You're not going to have 2 flagships. Or I scrap mine because basically I'm not going to use it. So, oh well.
All right, moving right along. Let's go into the Whiplash campaign.
Whiplash. I can go over this one. The Whiplash is just basically it's the sister campaign to what we Travis just covered, and it also started on the 19th. It's going to end on the 26th, and this one's you're going to pick up the Razor Tail, the Needler rockets. The Razor Tail build tokens and a lot of Razor Tail ranking tokens also, and the Razor Edge badge, which there's a lot of badge collectors out there. So some people just do it only for the badge. That's in this campaign, and this is going to be used as the same as the Bat Ray campaigns we just discussed to fix up the fleets that you have. You've been using currently, or those players that don't have them, I guess, yet, to work towards these.
Cool. Yeah, and of course, if you're a cokehead, you definitely want to get that badge because,
Right.
We won't be there.
No, right. Look at that thing. It's a pretty good crack.
I mean, I wonder if they just took a picture of Will Harbin's desk when they made that badge.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's a pretty graphic one there, but
If it was from his desk, it would be some other item from a trailer long ago. I'll leave it at that.
yeah,
Right, right. I don't know. I remember watching him on the BV show he did the one time. He was sniffing an awful lot during that show. That's all I'm gonna say. But anyway, then we got this campaign to go with the other one.
yeah, and that's the major razor. Sorry, not razor campaign. It also started the 19th, and it's going to end the 26th. And this one is where you're going to pick up these the nailhead rockets. They're going to be the upgraded weapons for the razor tail. In prize pack 1 and 2, you'll pick up those, along with then you'll start getting the BXP tokens for the Occam's razor tail, and then prize pack 3 is where you're going to pick up the blueprint for that lead hull, and that's where it changes the fleet entirely. So if you can get to that point, that's where you really need to really try to get to for sure. The mastery prize is where you're going to pick up more nailhead rockets, and then also the build tokens, and then the ranking tokens in excess. Times 2 on the build tokens at least. So it's a and you can go through that 3 times. So there's quite a few tokens in there. If you can get through. I'm not sure on the damage. In all honesty, I have not done it this time because the damage was so high the last time.
Yeah, I think I did like 1 prize pack the last time, maybe 2, and I was like, screw this shit, dude. This isn't worth it for the damage I'm taking.
Right. So, but I can't.
I'm at a point in my Battle Pirates career, and I can't speak to anybody else, but I know in my Battle Pirates career, if I have to spend coin on a TLC anymore, I just think I'm not going to do TLC. I refuse to spend coin on a TLC.
No, right. And even if I'm willing to, if I could take even a 10-hour repair, but my fleet makes it through, then I'm still even okay with it because but that's with the top of the line fleet even. So yeah, if it's more damage than that, then it's just kind of out of my reach at times. At times, when I'm working on other PVE hulls, I don't have a clear dock to do this.
And there's nothing worse, especially for the non-coining player, of making it to the very last, say like number 7 encounter, and then just getting destroyed, and then not being able to go back in, and you just watch that timer click away or hit the abort button. But yeah, but not all fleets are built equal, so some people are just gonna, not gonna make it just by the way they play or the way they don't play. But like you said, if a good decent fleet, I mean, they tune everything for legendary, but if a decent fleet that I got can at least make it, and like you said, if I got 10 hours of repair, great. Now I'll do that right before bed or in the morning and let repair while I'm at work or, while asleep. So, and then maybe once it gets to the end, speed it up and then go right back on out. But, it just, man, it's heartbreaking when you do a TLC and you get to that last one and then you just get cut off at the knees and there's nothing you can do.
Yeah, I know. I tend to, on these TLCs, I'm the guy who runs, the decoy and to take most of the damage, and then the 4 behind it to spit out a lot of damage. What I do is I rotate through my decoys. Like I actually start with number 5, and like I'll work that as my decoy until it's like, probably like, I don't know, it only has like a third of its health left, and then I'll switch and go down to 4 and then 3 and then 2. And then I always say 1 for the last 2 encounters because it's actually built to be a decoy, so therefore it lasts longer, and you figure you want to have that for the 2 that are the hardest to do. So I mean, that rotating through your decoys like that for people can help them get a little bit farther maybe than what they might normally.
Yeah, that's a great tip, for sure.
Yeah, just make sure, like I said, whichever one is the best one you have for a decoy, don't go using it right off the bat. Save that for the last 2 encounters because they're going to be the toughest ones.
Oh.
So what do we got next here? Oh, just bug fixes and tunings. Apparently, world map objects were failing to display on the world map for some campaigns. So I'm not really sure what that was about, but okay, whatever. Crash. SOS occurs when launching a fleet and then instantly repairing it while it still displays as docked. So, okay. And then just regular general bug fixes and tunings. And something worth noting as part of this update that just went out, Conquerors will revert to their original functionality and not be able to hit PvE world map targets or like TLCs anymore for that matter, or the regular campaigns rather anymore for that matter either. I tried taking my breachers into Snowfall today and it said, no, you can't. And I said, oh, sad face. There went my easy 500 million res.
Yeah.
Also,
faster.
Yeah, right. Also, starting last night, we're in the middle of another Tier 7 PvP refit discount where there's a 50% discount on like Tier 7 Conqueror and Defender hulls, Tier 7 ship weapons, Tier 7 base turrets, Tier 7 ship armors, and Tier 7 PvP specials. So there you go.
But,
no tokens, though. No tokens. Just a 50% discount, but no tokens.
It's just odd. I know this one kind of confused a lot of people. You know, the not full builds, just the hull. But then, you know, list all the components that you need for a full build. So,
well,
yeah, but I don't get that either. Well, I guess it's because a lot of times, like a lot of the specials and the shit you might be putting on aren't Tier 7.
exactly.
So it wouldn't come out as like, if in scenarios like that, it wouldn't be the full build, just the parts of the components that are listed there. That's the only reason why I think they would think to differentiate it like that. That lasts until the day after Christmas. So we're in the midst of bounty. There have been some changes to that. 50% of all your bounty is auto secured as soon as you get it. We don't have manual banking at all anymore. But you still auto secure at 10K. And you're still gonna whatever bounty you have that's unsecured when you get hit, you're still gonna lose 50% of that. Dock repairs are reduced by 50% during bounty. Let's see. Your initial seed amount of bounty is higher, meaning you get more points just for opting in. The amount of Nexus per world has been reduced to 3. They say that's going to generate more alliance versus alliance competition. I don't know. There's been lots of problems with the golden nexuses from what I've been hearing, so I don't know that that's actually worked out quite that way. But now bounty grants and outpost bus grant payouts will be increased in higher. You'll get more bonus grants, like the higher amount as you up your OP. So, and I think the next slide is actually some pictures of showing all this stuff. Oh no, sorry, it's payouts. Now we go into those slides. Replica payouts have been adjusted with resource payouts also being changed. Low level payouts between 60 to 100 bounty, which is piss poor terrible in my opinion. But mid level ones are 230 to 360, and the big ones are 500 to 1,000. And then the resources have been up to 19 million for the per basic resource, and the mid-level ones, and 38 million per basic resource, and the bigger ones. So I don't know. It's nice to see that we at least have some place where you can get some resources, huh?
Right. Do they have the fleets in them?
No, it doesn't have guard fleets in them.
Okay, I just didn't see it mentioned in their, delivery of the.
Oh, I'm sure if there would have been guard fleets in bounty, you would have seen that everywhere, every single post, every page, everywhere. So as you can see, this just shows you what you get by upgrading your outpost. You go from what is it, 800 to 900 bounty for your drips at OP once you get it to the second level. Then you get what is that, 1,000 to each one of your deflections, right? And then when you go from 2 to 3, then it goes up to. Hang on, let me move my chair up here. I'm having problems seeing this because they're kind of small on my screen. All right, so you go up to 2,000 for each deflection, and then your bounty drip goes from 900 to 1,000, and then at level 4 you get your 1,200 bounty per drip, and then you go to 4,000 on your deflections. So yeah, a significant amount of resources to up it each time too, like especially in a resource starved game that we're currently playing right now.
Very low. Those are surprisingly low numbers for me to see compared to, the prior boosts. In the past, for the OPs that were able to withstand the 2-minute blow and things like that. This is significant reduction in defenses.
Well, I mean, I guess this is the first time we ran bounty since everything was flopped over to deflection from defense, though.
Right.
So we don't really have a good measuring stick. But yeah, I would tend to agree that comparatively to the defensive buffs we got, that those deflection values are kind of low.
Yeah.
Then we got processes. Of course, the new tier 8 turret, which is 20K. You can claim it 8 times, which, wow, that surprises me that they made the limit on that thing 8 already. Normally it starts out at like 4, and then you can eventually up it. But wow. You got 2 new armors, which we'll talk about, are 10K. You got the High Guard Curator, Radioactive Force, and Ballistic Scope all at 8K. I'm just going to highlight ones I think are good. I mean, like, you get the regular Curator for 4K, which I think the Curator is still actually pretty decent. Let's see. The Conservator CR01 is actually, I don't think that's necessarily bad right now either. I know I have one of those backing up, a Siren loaded down with those backing up my Curator at the moment. And so it helps make that Curator really hard to kill for the Dreads. Let's see, what else do you got? Oh, you got the flags like Poseidon's Hurricane and stuff like that. What else do you guys see that's on here that's good?
The Revenants, I'm going to pick up I need 2 more of them because I want to run a 5-ship fleet of those. And then, let's see, I need some scopes. That's for sure.
Yeah, scopes are always good, because you never know when that little bit of extra range might come in handy.
I actually need all of the counters, like even the CM, CTO, reloader, all that stuff I need.
Yeah, I like the countermeasure specials myself on this, this list here. The scopes also. So as far as what I would be concerned with if I didn't have.
I mean, for lower to mid-level players, they have like the Revenant, the Ifrit is in here, the Impact Cruiser, and pretty much all your tier 7 stuff is in here for the lower guys. 3,000 points isn't that bad for them.
No, that's good. Good price.
And where I don't have, I just have the one Curator right now, so I may actually kind of go with the Highlander, because I kind of tested that, and then I'd like to run a full fleet of Curators with its flag just to see. Now that I'm getting base parts, I'm kind of getting some turrets up there and getting some of the defensive platforms high enough to put them on. So maybe just playing with just straight up, using the ballistic buff from the factions and doing that, and then after that gets old, then try and do me a radioactive base, and just kind of play with each faction type and damage type. Would kind of be fun.
That sounds very time consuming. I like having lots of different kind of damages in my base. That's just me though. Of course, you can get pretty much all the tier 7 armors, I believe, this time around. Well, not all of them, but the biggest majority of them. So, any of those that you're missing, that's a good time to pick up on them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there are players out there that are missing the 3s, and so it's crucial for them to really get those.
Axioms and serves, I actually highly recommend those because I've seen both of those turrets kind of do a number on breachers if their breachers aren't built properly against them. So, or not the serves, but the gargoyle depth charges. Although I've heard serves actually might do halfway decent too. Actually, I've never gotten the serves, so I personally can't speak to those. But the axioms and the depth charges, I've seen both of those jacks and breachers up on occasion. And of course, obviously, in my opinion, the build tokens for the conquerors and the defenders are probably the best things in this particular bounty, in my opinion. And then you can get titanium, uranium, and all your basic resources in here too. So it's kind of weird that they don't have base parts, huh? You can get titanium and uranium and all the regular ones, but you can't get any base parts. Kind of weird.
Mm-hmm. I guess I didn't notice that. But yeah, I like the build tokens as far as this list is, it's all what everybody wants.
Let's talk about this new turret, which I'm not sure. I see that being more beneficial to my opponent than I see it being beneficial to me, but we can talk about it.
Yeah, we can go over this. It's the new distortion launcher. It's Reaver Tech Tier 8. Now, this is going to be the first Tier 8 weapon we have released. It does take quite a bit of power, 28,000. So it's going to take a maxed out level turret. So I believe it will take a level 10 to put this on with specials, that is. Now, it's a launcher weapon with radioactive damage. The projectile speed is 300, so medium, The accuracy is 100, and the range on it is 140. So the damage is 360,000. So let's be honest, it's really not going to damage anything. It's going to use for the special ability coming up. Reload time on it is 8.8, salvo 6, radioactive defense bypass, and the whole 9. So it has a stack duration of 6 seconds. And what this does is a fire field chance I get. And now I'm not so concerned about the fire field, but what I'm noticing down here in the bottom is what happens is it's like the old oil slicks on the resources. It's going to speed you up. Now, those used to speed you up. I'm just guessing. Like 150% maybe. And I think this is going to speed you up to 200%. So it's a little bit more. The turn speed is going to reduce 75%. So at the current time, this could, in fact, greatly help the attacker with the current situation of the bases. However, not in all cases. If used correctly, I guess you could create a scenario where you could make somebody crash maybe for an extended time into a corner or a wall area of that type of sort of situation. So it's possible if you're really tricky enough and really good enough at designing those type of scenarios, you could create a rather chaotic area in a base. But for the
sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, for the most part, this is helping out the attacker, and I wouldn't suggest anybody put this in. unless you know totally mechanics of how to do such a scenario I just described.
I could see it maybe if you had a place just right and you would give them a speed buff and make them maybe possibly face plant into like a gargoyle or something like that, one of your short range turrets that they usually take out from range. But like you said, like I know one of the fleets that you see a lot nowadays is just like, ballistic breachers, click the back of the base and have a nice day. And it seems like to me this is just helping those fleets out even more, you know. So I don't know.
Especially on the preps. You know what I mean? Or in all honesty, a prepping ship gets hit by this sucker, it's even farther. Come on. This is what I want. But
yeah, maybe it'll be useful at some time in the future coming up, but I personally am not seeing it right now. Not where we're at the moment.
Would it, some of those prep fleets that are so fast, looking at the projectile speed and the reload speed, and then, they showed the, spread debuff, which is, going to be for like scatters and stuff like that, but it also contributes to the combat speed. But how much is that going to actually stack on one of those, like, really fast prep grids, that has no building damage, it's just scooting on through anyway? Is it really going to stack up on them enough to even give them more speed, maybe? Or is that meant for more of the slow crawling speed, or attackers that inch up, so it has time to actually to build up on them? Is it 8.8 and just 300 projectile speed, 6 salvo? I'm just wondering about the stack rate. I'd have to see it. Really.
Yeah, is that why you need?
Well, I mean, it's accuracy based though, not like dumbfire though. So it's, unless you have really high evade, it's going to hit you quite a bit. And the stacks last for 6 seconds. So you have like 2.8 seconds of downtime, I guess. But that's not including if they put any like reload buffs on it. So it's very possible that if somebody puts one of these in their base, has reload on it, that you're constantly giving your attacker that 200% speed bonus.
Yeah.
And as far as I know, like, speed buffs has no like kind of diminishing returns or anything. It's just like plus 200% no matter what you're at. So yeah, I don't know. I just see this as being more beneficial to the attacker than it is to me.
No. Which I made a kind of a crash course base, and testing using the oil slick. It's just kind of some funny scenarios, but it wasn't so. It wasn't that much speed. You know what I'm saying? It would crush them into a corner, but it wasn't. It let the guard fleet beat on them. But I think with this, if they were already stacked at 200. Even with the reduced turn speed, once they hit that corner, they would like skate down it. You know what I'm saying? I know y'all saw fleets do that where they just plow in, but it's still trying to go, so it's just like sliding down the the land a little bit before
Right.
the turn. So
yeah, I don't know. It'll be. I don't know. I don't think it's good. that's the best way I can sum it up. I don't think it's good.
I think it'd be cool if it had like say 200% for so many seconds, and then it just like tanked down to where you're just gonna like slam them forward real fast and then halt them, because that's how you really would build a crash course base. You got to be able to stop them, and there's nothing really stopping anything right now except for the dread thing we talked about earlier off air. But
no, then that's just it. If you don't, yeah, it's just a strange time for release because right now we don't currently have anything for them to run into to kill them, really, basically, or the mass majority don't of the community definitely does not. Our turrets don't do it. The guard fleet doesn't really do it in one ship to one ship. So so it's just a strange time for release, in my opinion.
Yeah, I kind of agree. Um, Master GSG and Chad is saying that the debuff for the spread will make it more concentrated, not more spread. I don't think that's necessarily true, actually, because it does say right there specifically it is adding spread. So it is like, and it can stack up to 150%. So you have more spread. Most people like to tend to have their stuff with less spread because it makes the things more, it makes your fire more concentrated as opposed to things going willy nilly everywhere and damaging everything a little bit, but not anything a lot. So, Travis, you want to do the armors?
Yeah. These I actually think are pretty cool. The Zenthonite armor, there's a D6TA and the D6STSL. What these are doing is they're actually giving you 750,000 armor points at a 1,200 tons, but you're getting like the tactical field resistance on the D6TA at 50%. And the repair duration is pretty cool. It's 15 minutes, so it's not adding a whole lot to your fleet. And the STSL, you're getting your slow resistance, 50%, and the same uh, repair and all that. But there is an equip cap of 1 for these. But I think if you stack them with other specials, these will be pretty handy, pretty cool. I like them. They look good too.
My question is, what deflection armor are you willing to give up to put these on?
In my own personal scenario, this is crazy mechanic. Yeah, I mean, we went from 12,000 or 1,200. Sorry, 1,200 with tier 7 to 750,000 in tier 8. I actually thought it was a misprint when I first read it. I think, oh, no big deal, because they'll catch that. No, because we won't want that kind of escalation from tier 7 to tier 8, surely. And nope. Guess what? It's live. It's real. So with this combined with the other applications in the game, with the CICs where you can have remote repair features, this makes it, in my opinion, totally crazy. Yeah, crazy. So if somebody could put a ship on and it can repair off of that with 750,000 armor points on it and then repair off that, you got to be kidding me. So I'll be using this armor because of its armor points, not its ability, for sure. And so it's not something that I like at all to see in the fact that armor points or the special abilities, in my opinion, it's just like where we went with the weapons with the deflection stats. So here we go. So and that's it.
I'm not sure I can imagine a scenario where I would. I'm echoing really bad off somebody. But I'm not sure I can imagine a scenario where I would take off my deflection armors to replace it with this, honestly, to be totally frank about it.
No, I'm saying in the attacker scenario, if he's running a repair ship behind his breacher and able to repair off of it, that's, you can put one of each of these on a hull so you can repair off that.
I think it would definitely be like if you have specialty fleets, that's set up to do, some bases are set up to do certain damage types and more so than others, and they'll hurt if you don't have the right deflection armors anyway. But like you said, with the right healer and as backup, I think these men could actually work. I really do. I think because right now we're trying to build fleets to cover all bases, and just because the build times. You know, and that's we're forced to do that. But in a creative thought process of these, if you did have one set up for these and one set up for that, uh, this actually I think could be useful where you could drop one of the number twos, like say if I got a CTO two on there, like where I've got two slots of them on a 5 armor ship, or maybe there's a ship coming with 6 armors, uh, or 7.
Oh God, don't say that.
I know. I mean, but it's going to happen eventually. I mean, it's going to happen. But I think this would add a aspect just of creativity to builds, and with the right setup, it might be fun. But having a lot of armor points and then 15 minutes for repair, that's not too bad.
Yeah, I guess time will tell. Time will tell how useful it's going to be and how useful it's not going to be.
All right.
Didn't we have stun armor before that like never ever got used?
Yeah, I mean,
really?
We got all kinds of it, for sure. I got stacks and stacks of this the ST SL style, and we just didn't use it in the past. And I don't think it'd be used for its use moving forward. It's just going to be the first to these 2 tier 8s with the 750,000 armor points. I mean, being that I guess I'm assuming that all the tier 8s moving forward will have the same type of armor points. So we really did jump from 1,200 to 750,000. I mean, it's just kind of. I'm still in the
well, like basically what they've done is taken the ridiculous numbers that we had in deflections and damage output before, and they put all those ridiculous numbers now into health. That's basically all they did. That's what the refactor did.
Oh. But there's like some bases out there that has just like still just has melting points, and these, I'm serious, man. I think where the resistances are so high, and you could stack them with some other specials. It may not be for the top end players, or hitting the top end bases, but just guys that are still hitting the low 100s and that level, that where the tactical field resistances and stuff are really punishing to some of the fleets. Because they don't have the enough specials to cover everything. They just got maybe 1 or 2, so they're able to hit, but they're not able to dominate or smash like some other players. This might give them just enough of that boost to be able to get through that slow down resistance, or something, if they stack it with the agility system 4. I'll tell you, I'll be the gamekeeper.
I will say the slowdown part has me a little bit intrigued, because we were talking a little bit in the pre-show about how dreads just get so freaking nuked by slowdown effects compared to the other hulls. Like my dreads, I know, have about the same kind of slowdown and tactical resistance as say my witch doctors do. But the amount that my dreads get slowed down compared to how much my witch doctors get slowed down, oh my gosh, it's like night and day, man.
Yeah, and I have the same specials, and they'll just the tier 7s and even my Poseidon and everything, they'll just they get slowed down. But I was coming to a crawl with my dread, and I was just like, man, I didn't want to say this earlier, but I was just like, man, please don't make me have to use that because of the dread slowing down. Damn it.
All right. I'm almost wondering if there's something maybe in the dreads that maybe isn't bugged, maybe, or something. Just because there shouldn't be that big of a difference between the two fleets.
Yeah, because even with 75% or higher, and it's just like it wasn't effective at all. It was shutting it off, dropping me down to floating fortress speed. I didn't like it.
I know, right? That's kind of what I was feeling like sometimes. It's like, my God, I get some paddles out and row these damn things. I might go faster.
And go back.
But anyway, all right.
Let's go Forsaken.
That's
orders on.
I got a sneak peek image of the Eradicator flagship. So this is what that guy is going to look like when he comes out. And we got the stats for him in the shipyard. So Ross, do you want to go over this guy?
Yeah, this one's going to be the lead for the Eradicator. It's a Reaver Tech's Siege class, Tier 8. So this one's going to have a ballistic damage boost of 200%. Also ballistic range, ballistic damage 200, and also building damage 200. It's also got a range boost 45%. Now in defense-wise, it's got a built-in structure deflection of 1250, tactical field resistance 50%. Ballistic defense is 80% along with the radioactive defense. It's the same at 80%. Combat speed matches the other at 30, turn 20, map speed the same. Now, the repair duration on this hull is 3 hours, the same as the other hull. Special slots 6, armor slots 4. Now, this one has a frenzy, a kill frenzy that does stack at one time, and it does affect all the ships. And so you're going to pick up a ballistic defense, radioactive defense, combat speed, and reload of all 50%. And then it's also going to have a bonus effect applied to each Eradicator of what? Ballistic defense, radioactive defense, combat speed, and ballistic damage of 20. Well, let's see, ballistic defense, those are 30, but the combat speed and then the damage is 25% buff. So this is apparently the one that's really going to turn you in. It doesn't, it doesn't help with reload too much, but
is it just me, or does it kind of seem almost kind of like affect your fleet kind of almost like the Makara did for the Manicores?
Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of seems like just another take on the Makara almost in a way. And this obviously is not in Bounty. This is going to be in the Krampus event, the holiday event. But, we had the stats in the shipyard, and I was able to get this image. So I figured I'll throw it up here, and we can discuss it a little bit, give people a little sneak peek at it.
Right, and that's December 27th, for those that aren't aware of that yet. That's going to be starting.
That thing looks really cool, I have to say. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but just the little city building part that they kind of like ripped off of something. You know how the Reavers are always throwing something together. I just really like that feature. Looks mean.
I mean, it's pretty much the same as the other one, though. It just has a lot more red, right?
The slight differences in the skin's a lot different, so that's cool. I was hoping it would help with the reload buff, though.
Right, and that's what I was kind of hoping on, but it does just line up, just like Damnation said, as far as like with the Manicore in the previous.
Yeah, so I don't know. I guess somehow they expect us to stay in the frenzy mode all the time to get to 50% reload up there.
I watched some people testing their Eradicators, on Baseworks Target, and the first 3 blocks, they'll stay up longer than the 4th block. As soon as you get that 4th block, if you don't fire on something else, like it was coming off like really fast, so it's like I don't know if the frenzy duration wasn't kicking in all the way, or they just I don't know. It's just like the stock duration wasn't holding up once you finally got it.
And Cuddle, I have no idea what the build time is. It's in your shipyard game, though. I want to go check it out. Or are you asking if I want to tell what it is and you know what it is? I'm not sure which you were asking there. If you want to know what it is, I don't know. You can go look it up in the shipyard. But if you know what it is and want to tell us, then I can tell everybody. I think from what I heard though, like, is it like I want to say I think I might have heard it was like 10 days for the blank hole or something. Because I think I saw somebody say it was like 6 more days than a regular one.
Really?
I think. Oh, for Christ's sake, Cuddle! If you know it, just say it.
Yeah, bust the thunder out. I haven't looked myself, but yeah, I guess it wouldn't shock me. I'm in a situation myself where, you know, I really am crunched for the, that's what I'm working on. I'm working on the eradicators still. I haven't even got the build sorted in total with the armor situation myself, but I'm still working on it. So that I really need this hull as soon as possible, in my opinion. I need, you know.
I don't know, dude. Honestly, the position I feel like I'm going to be into this raid, I feel like I'm going to need a whole bunch of raid points handed to me. Is how I'm feeling, because I'm not feeling at all comfortable going into this.
Oh,
like, not at all.
I'm not gonna go. Yeah, this would be my worst start situation, in my opinion. I don't know because I haven't seen the targets, but just a guess from the whole, you know, time from playing Battle Pirates. I'll be in a worse situation in the start of the series, of any series that I have ever started an event, and that's not from lack of trying. I really have been trying to get this work done, but I'm going to be so short on what I call a fleet that I'm considering. I'm going to hope for the best and go with the Bucks, and just hope that they can hit some targets. And I don't know what else at this point I can do. Well, I do know it. I don't know what else I'd be willing to do.
Yeah, I'm not going to throw a coin at this disaster. That's for fucking sure.
No, right. I mean, I'm going to do the best I can. I have a really nice fleet of Buccaneers, and imagine that I'm going to be. That's going to be. I hope that's going to be my go-to fleet. And if it's not, I guess it's not. And maybe, well, maybe we. I don't know. The Merc page is always an option. You know.
Fuck Mercs.
I just, I got 4 blanks and just 1 gun mounted so far. So I just hope to build something, scrap something together good enough to grind. I'm used to grinding. I've done it, since the time I won the Dread, pretty much on in some cases. But I don't like doing it. But I just hope. I mean, damn, I hate to say that. I hope I can grind. Like, really? They made me say that? Crap. That's when you know something's wrong with the build times. When I gotta hope I can make it through the grind. Damn.
No, I won't make it through the grind. I'm not gonna lie. I won't. I won't make it grinding very long. It's just not something I find enjoyable. So.
Well, I gotta survive, so it's just the way it is for me. It's the way it's been. That's the way it is for a lot of people, like it's just if you want to keep up, you got to do what you can, or you come to a halt. I mean, that's just the way it is.
Oh, I agree. I just think
let me interrupt. Let me interrupt here for a minute. We got 3 more slides to get through, and these are probably all 3 going to involve some conversation. And I'd prefer not to be here till 8:45. So let's go ahead and move on from this topic and move on to the last 3 slides. Wrong Thinker Thinks did his lead developer post, and I just went through and highlighted what I thought were the 3 big things in it. They're going to be coming out with battle reports. Basically, it's going to be a thing that you receive at the end of the battle, telling you what kind of damage you avoided, what was negated by your defenses, and what damage you actually took. And that should be able to help everybody sort out what's wrong with their fleets, what's dealing a lot of damage to them, what they could be avoiding better, and all that kind of stuff. I think this is a great idea. This is probably one of the best things I've seen that they're going to put in the game in a long time, because it takes away a lot of that. Well, what the hell killed me there? Now you'll be able to look at your end of the battle report. And you'll be like, that's what killed me there. So I think this is a great idea. I don't know what you guys think.
Yeah, I'm a thumbs up on this one. I'm not. I do see that the entire community won't get it, and they don't. But for those that do are numbers people and follow stuff closely, in all honesty, this is what we've been wanting, or this is a great help to what I want moving forward. So I'm 2 thumbs up on the battle reports. It depends on how it's given. You know, if it's just a blank type thing, doesn't explain where I picked up, I guess it would still be better than nothing. But I really am excited about this feature moving forward, and it has 100% of my support.
Even if you're not a numbers guy, just the common sense of it, of looking at the battle report at the end and saying, "Oh my God, I only took, say, 100,000 points of ballistic damage, but my God, I took like 9 billion points of radioactive damage." That just common sense says, okay, I need more radioactive defense, and I can probably lighten up on the ballistic. So even if you don't understand the numbers really well, just seeing stuff like that can help you just common sense wise know that, oh, I need more of this, and I can probably get away with a little less of this.
Right.
You know?
Right. And
so I know I was big in the discussion. This is something that was from when Just Mike was still there. He was kind of the guy who had talked about this. And I know I had been a big fan of doing just a live scrolling text thing on like another chat tab or whatever, telling you what was going on as it was going on. But I'll take this too. Either one would be fine.
Yeah, I was a fan
So,
of that.
Yeah. But I mean, there's going to be a lot of times now. And I think in certain ways too, this can help identify bugs. Maybe sometimes, you know how sometimes you have the targets where you'll auto and do just fine for like 9 runs in a row, and then all of a sudden on your 10th row you'll get insta-gibbed by something. This can help you determine what it was that insta-gibbed you, and then you can pass that up the kick sign and be like, this turret right here or this ship right here is where the problem is. And this is what's like nuking me like 10 out of 9 or 1 out of every 10 battles. So it can help track down bugs too, I think. The next one is this one scares the piss out of me for multiple reasons. It says, first, our defensive stats have escalated significantly, and since the game's inception is driving peak defenses well over 99%. While we could just hard nerf all defenses in the game, instead we're going to convert some of the value from defense and into armor. We're also going to convert percentile defense into a defense rating system. That's the one that scares me a whole lot, and we'll come back to that in a minute. But it says, which will allow us to better align their values with the benefit they provide. Having more accurate information at your disposal will help better assess component trade-offs when putting together your optimal build. Okay, I know one big thing is everybody was concerned, oh, you're going to give our ships more health. That's going to mean that the repair time is going to go up. And Travis, you had got a direct response for that, correct?
Yes, Wrong Thinker confirmed that would not be the case. That if the hull is say like 3-hour repair, it will remain that way. So he confirmed that adding hull armor to the base hull will not affect the repair times. So that's a great thing, in my opinion.
My big problem, my big problem, dude, is going from like basically 8 years of having defense percentage, and now we're going to suddenly reinvent the fucking wheel and go to a defense rating. Dude, this is going to throw so many people off. Like, so, why? Honestly, you're better off just lower the damage in the targets. That way we don't need 99% resistances. People are already going to have to build the new hulls anyway because you tier lock everything anymore. So like needing doing more damage isn't the driving factor that makes us build new shit now. It's that you tier lock everything, so we're going to have to build it. So just lower the numbers that we're looking at, and then we don't need 99.99999% resistances anymore. Stop reinventing the freaking wheel, man.
Or add a decimal point. You know what I mean? Right? In all honesty, is that the problem? We can't add a decimal.
Well, no, it's not even that. It's not even that. It's just the fact that we shouldn't be having damages come at us that are so freaking high that we have to worry about having 99.999% resistance anyway.
No, I agree. They created this monster. It wasn't a player created issue. And the way to solve it is not, in my opinion, is not this way. I guess this is a way to solve it, but it scares me also. My PvP, in my opinion, my PvP game was changed with refactor, and this is refactor PvE. So it's going to change PvE also by refactoring in this way, reassigning of numbers and by people that don't play the game. So we're going to see this win. Are we seeing this now?
No, this is all supposed to happen, I think, by February, I think, is when this is all supposed to happen.
So, yeah. Wonder how they would implement the defense rating system for, like, the damages and even, like, the evade. And would evade be, like, a part of that stat, or is that something
honestly, I have no idea, and to be quite frank about it, I don't really care because I don't want them to do it in the first place. I mean, people have put years and years and years into figuring this game out, and now all of a sudden you just want to change it as a drop of a dime for what, in my opinion, is no real valid reason. I mean, it seems like they just want to take the game that everybody's loved to play for the past 8 years or however, and they just want to reinvent the entire game. Kind of, I don't know. Stop screwing with shit. Just fix what doesn't work and stop breaking things that do. How about that?
Yeah, I can't say that with the defense is over 99% is working. So, in my opinion, that is also not working. So I agree with them on that. But yeah, I'm not liking. But I don't know the numbers. I haven't, because we're not given that. We're just given this. And with this is scary to me because of what I saw with PvP.
Well, I mean, it just if 99% defenses aren't working, common sense, just pure common sense, not knowing anything about anything other than just having some common sense, says that damage is way, way, way too fucking high if I'm reducing it by 99% and I'm still taking a shit ton of damage. Hello, it's not, that part of it's not rocket science. That part of it a freaking 5-year-old can explain to you.
I mean, for me, I guess coming from, where I did go through 4 years for designing, this seems like it would lead to them opening up to not being forced to just 2 damage types. And if it would allow creativity and builds to come back a little bit to where we can do a couple oddball stuff every now and then, I'd like to see more about it, because this is just so limited. It don't really tell us much. But if it could open up some stuff, it might be kind of cool. If it hinders stuff, then yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna reserve myself to wait and see, but hopefully it allows for a little more creativity.
I'm committing myself to a firm I don't even want to see.
Well, the game, in my opinion, is just always changing. So I guess this is just one of those things we're gonna just have to wait and see. and this is just the statement they put out already, so it could change it by then.
I'll echo something George has been saying lately. I have concerns.
Yeah.
And then the last thing, which I personally, a lot of people probably disagree with me on this one, but I think this one is a good thing as well. They're going to be fixing Splash, basically. Splash has not worked properly the way it has for a long time. Now that even if the slightest edge of an explosion touches the slightest edge of your hull, you're pretty much taking most, if not all, of the damage from that projectile. They're going to make it to where, and also splash reduction isn't working properly either. In some cases, it's not really reducing at all. In other cases, it's reducing even when you get hit directly. So basically, they're going to make it to where splash fall off is going to be a thing, and I don't know if this is going to be just in PvE, or just in PvP, or if this is going over into PvE too. Because like if it's going over into PvE, okay, so what are you doing with the rockets that you just got done designing specifically not to have splash fall off? But apparently they're going to make it so where towards the outer edges of the splash, you're going to be taking less damage, and you're going to be seeing your splash armor more effective at the outer edges of the rings. But if you get hit directly, it's not going to be effective at all, pretty much. So I personally think myself something's needed to be done about splash for a really long time. But I don't know. I know there's quite a few people out there that probably don't agree with that, but that's where my thought has been for a long time.
I don't know. I'm putting back, and I'm going to start, saying things like this statement here, because I'm kind of put off by a statement lead off like that leads with splash doesn't act the way it should. You know what? In all honesty, my repair costs don't act the way it should. That's how I'm going to lead off from now on. My repair for things don't act the way they should. How about that? From now on, whoever makes the statement is the deciding factor on how things should work. Okay, I can do this too. Splash has worked a certain way. So by you saying it doesn't act the way it should is your opinion. Okay, the Splash has acted the same way as damage and has acted. So by saying it doesn't act that way, that's craziness. And so this is just basically saying you're going to change Splash. In my opinion, yeah, it's totally messed. We've dealt with Splash the certain way. We've designed everything around it the way it's been. There's certain road crews even to increase Splash at the edge. The game's built this way. So if you'd like to change it, just don't lead off with it. It doesn't act the way it should, because it does act the way it should. It's acted the way
wait, I have to disagree with you on this, because Splash doesn't act the way it should. Because just like they said in the example, at the outside edge of the splashes, you're taking the full damage. You were never supposed to have that in Splash. It never used to be that way when Splash was first a thing.
Well, who said that it wasn't supposed to be that way?
When they originally fucking designed the game, it didn't work that way. So that dictates right there how it was supposed to be.
Okay, well, that still doesn't alter my statement saying, well, okay, because repair didn't work the same. We didn't have a repair. So me by saying, yeah, my repair costs don't work the way it should, and that it still carries over. That's a nonsense statement.
Well, that's your opinion. I don't think it is. I think it pretty much accurately reflects what's going on.
Can I intervene a little bit? The thing with Splash and the way that most gamers view it is it's an AoE. It's an area of effect. And fall off is huge in a lot of games. And so if we can get that fall off, it's actually going to be more beneficial for us in the end, with the way we play the game, maybe even with autoing, because a lot of the targets, they have that spread. So with the spread fanning out, the ones that's hitting left and right is actually going to save you repair time in the end. So if they can get it fixed that way, it'll actually be good for us.
No, I'm not saying that it's not a bad thing. I just I guess I have a problem with the delivery. You know,
Yeah.
and that's the truth.
Well, maybe he's coming in from a position to where he's having to pick up someone else's work. Like say, like if you're building a bridge and you're the welder putting the beams across, and then you get fired, and then some other dude comes in. Well, he's like, all right, do I go back and inspect every single weld across this bridge, or do I just go ahead and build it and hope for the best? You know what I'm saying? He's having to put faith on previous people's um, time and work that they put in the game. And even where I work, I've had to do that too. And in some cases, you've got to try and make it better for yourself and everybody. Because he's been there for a time and maybe seen things there. It's like, well, they put that in and that's great, but damn, they didn't do it right. So maybe he's just trying to fix it. It's I guess, benefit of the doubt for me kind of deal.
I guess the one detriment I see of this though is for the people who have designed and built fleets around Splash. That's going to mean more refits that they're going to have to do.
Right. And
so is there going to be another refit discount period with more tokens because you're once again screwing people by quote unquote fixing things?
Well, how are you going to have to fix it? I mean, if you've already tried to lower your spread anyway, there's not much more you can do. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you're focusing that fire in on them on that point of impact.
So will my PvE fleet do as well in the weekly target as it does now? Is my, I guess.
I don't know. Because they're not very clear. This is going to affect PvE as well as PvP. Because like all the descriptions they have in here as far as rating this is PvP. But it doesn't really say a whole lot about PvE. So I don't know. And like those rockets, like for the Razor Tail, who are designed specifically not to have fall off, well, where do they fall in this whole thing?
Oh. Well, I think they'd still be like they're 100% splash across the board. See, the thing, the way it felt like is splash was a extra damage type instead of an effect of a damage. It should be an effect.
Yes, and I totally agree. I totally agree with that. I've been saying that for years, that at some point along the way, splash became a damage type as opposed to an outlying thing of its primary damage.
And I totally agree. And I guess I don't want to. And my frustration is totally in I guess with my concern on my weekly fleet, my PvE.
Yeah.
It truly is. It's my PvE area of concern. And so, and that's just.
Yeah, if you go in and can't like kill a cluster of turrets, then yeah, that's not what we need. If we can mitigate the damage by the way we drive or the setup we take on auto, then that's a great thing. But if right now we're set up to with our FM fleets and even with some PvP fleets to just come in and decimate with several projectiles to take out a group of stuff, and hopefully that doesn't change. Because if it does, then we're in problems. We have problems then.
Yeah, I mean, quite a few years now, the answer to any kind of mortar or rocket fleet or, even scatter guns has just been add splash, add splash, add splash, and this is going to change a whole lot of that, in my opinion.
Yes, for sure. I mean,
but if
tweak
the numbers to reflect what we, if they can tweak the numbers to reflect what we see now, to where it does what we expect, then I have no problem with it. If it comes out and it doesn't do what we expect, but just gives us a little bit of minimal gain here and there, I'm not fine with it. But still, I think it's a good right direction, because the way they did splash, like, and where it felt like a damage type, the only thing you had was splash reduction, and that wasn't working well, and it's still not actually working well. So if they can get the fall off to work, then maybe splash reduction will work. Maybe they'll pair well together for once.
Yeah, I don't know. I always thought it was kind of crazy that you would see onslaughts with tons and tons and tons of explosive deflection that could still get splashed out by explosive damage. I was like, what the hell is that all about? That never made sense to me.
Yeah, that was a,
I'm like, and that's why I'm like, dude, splash has to be its own damage type at this point, because if it was based off the primary damage was explosive, they should not be dying.
Yeah.
But anyway, I don't know. I think it's good for PvP. I think it's great. I have concerns about how it will affect PvE. I'm right there with you on that, Ross. I definitely have concerns on how it will affect PvE. But I don't know. Hopefully, they do a whole lot of testing with all of this stuff before they fully release it. Especially the last two, the splash change and the defense rating. You can tell I'm excited about that one. Defense rating. Mm-hmm. Anyway, yeah, hopefully they do a lot of testing and do lots of explaining with both of these. That's all we can hope for and ask for.
Yeah, and I didn't want to sound so disgruntled on my original, in truly, but I got a great concern on PvE. PvE. I have had splash issues just like everyone else in PvP in the past. So I understand their frustrations. My concern is totally the weekly moving forward.
Yeah, my whole thing was just on the way you're like, oh, well, how are they? Who are they to say that it doesn't act the way it should? And I'm just like, well, historically, they had the historic reference, just like when Siege Battery wasn't working the way it should. Nobody wanted to argue that one.
Then if it's acted differently than the way it was stated, then sure.
Yeah.
But just say it come along and just say it's just not acting the way it should. Well, it's when it's been the way it's acted for how many years. So that's true.
Well, but I mean, I guess that's my point. Was Splash didn't always act the way it acts now. Like way back in the day, Splash didn't act like it acts now. It did have that whole fall off, and it was based around the primary damage type, and you wouldn't see stuff getting splashed out monstrous ways back years ago. And I guess they're trying to get it back to that, and that's where my frame of reference was coming from.
Yeah, because I remember with my dreads, like I had the siege mortars on, and I had the splash upgrade and everything to boost it as much as I could. But even back then, when you hit a group of turrets, and you would take out, like, say, the first couple, but then you would see like the gap of damage decrease across the next two or three. So they're like, the next one would be half, and then a quarter, and then like an eighth, based on that distance. So I know when the first time I saw a sloth come in after I came back in the game, and it just like the first volley just took out like 8 land tiles worth of stuff, I was just like, what did they break? That was my first impression. Like, what the crap was that? But it's just like I said before, it would span across an area, sort of.
Yeah, so I don't know. It'll be interesting to see the impact that the second two have on the game for sure. Battle reports I really like, though. I think we all agree that one's a big thumbs up.
Yeah, huge. And I guess there'll be some people out there that just don't want to see it, and they didn't care in the they haven't cared always about the. But I think for the masses, it's a big 2 thumbs up.
Yeah, I would totally agree with that. And the second one we all have concerns on for sure, and the third one we have mixed concerns on. I think that's the best way to sum those 3 points up.
Yes.
So I don't know. You guys got anything else, or are we calling it?
We got we do have we did have Vikes put out the build time on the lead haul there, and he put in out 9 days, 22 hours with one weapon.
All right, so I was pretty close then when I said 10 days.
Yeah.
Have you guys started doing bounty? How are you doing at bounty? What do you think about the new bounty setup?
Well, for me, I was just hitting some of the smaller bases while I was at work. I could send it out real quick, and it I'm like 3 or 4 thousand something secured. So I don't know if we got a grant yet or not, but for me, coming back, it's going to help me out a lot more because the last bounty was the first one I was really able to participate in a lot. Now I played the other or two more before that. First one was just tragic. The second one was okay. Third one was a lot better, but I lost so much in that one. And just having the 50% auto bank for me personally is huge for my game because at least I know in the end I'm playing for 50% and everything else is just a bonus. I don't give a damn. That's what I'm playing for. What I know I can get. So I'm glad I can bank something all the time.
I don't know. I'm not sure. Like I see some positives and some negatives. Like I think the low targets are way too low. I mean, what did I say the payouts on them was? I can't remember right off the top of my
60
head.
to 100, man. 60 to 100.
Yeah,
Like,
I
real?
mean, that's silly, man.
That's
Like,
like the worst grind in the game ever. Man,
yeah,
we just had that conversation. I know what grinding is. I ain't doing that. I feel for the dudes that's got to. Man, dang.
well, I mean, I okay with the points at the top level. The 500 to 1,000. Yeah, that I'm okay with that. The what were the mid ones? Something like 230 to 360 or something. That's
Yeah.
okay. But yeah, like the little ones being 60 to 100, and like even the old going out of phase the tier 7 holes now are still like they got them in there at what, like 3,000 points. They've actually upped the cost of what they were. Because weren't they? Some of them were offered at like 1,800 points last bounty
Oh,
time
yeah.
we had them.
Yeah, I
So
got
like
all
you're
my revenants for 1,800. So.
Yeah, it's like you're increasing the points to get the holes now, but you're decreasing the point payouts for the little people that need those holes. That doesn't make any sense. What kind of world do you live in where those economics make sense?
Yeah.
Not the same one I do, that's for sure.
But hopefully I'm going to get out and hit some actual player bases a little bit later on, too. So. My plan is to hit replicas and get a decent amount of points, and then before I go to bed, I'm just gonna raise a little hell or die trying. That's gonna be. And then I'm gonna repair. Well, I get what I get, and if I don't get any much, then it is what it is. But hopefully, I get some stuff. I don't know.
I mean, one good thing is like player bases are probably almost always going to be worth something, so that's a good thing.
Yeah,
It encourages actual real PvP.
it does because
Uh,
I noticed I was actually just clicking around on different people's bases, just kind of see what I would get if I was going to attack them. And everybody I clicked on, they had a decent amount where you could get, 900 or four or five, 600, some 4 or 5,000, So, I mean, just, and that was early on. So if that continues across the board, I think there'll be points out there for the real PvP players to be able to hit something. I hope.
What are you thinking, Ross? Have you done much yet?
No, my game I haven't been able to play. It's not really playable since the update. So I'm hanging in there. It's not on my end. I've done everything, checked everything, and so I just checked out. I've been watching, and I don't think it's for me this time. I'm not a grinder. I'm not somebody who wants to spend endless hours, and I'm really working for my PvE game now. I know it's strange to everybody hear me say that, but my PvP game went to shit. It's gone. So I'm trying to salvage what I have, and that's PvE at this time. And so I'm concentrating on my next raid fleet, and this would mess my PvE up in my time building the fleet that I won't be able to build already. I'm not about to get hit every 4 hours in my shipyard. No thanks. The prizes aren't worth it to me. I do like the armor, the tier 8 boost to the 750,000 armor point boost. It will drastically impact how my base gets destroyed for the next however time. Yeah, that's not going to be fun either. So it's not something I'm interested in at this time. I do believe that, however, the situation could change, like say Sunday, where I go and start at the end and get the enough to get the armor for the situation that I have thought out in my head, where I could use that. Now, so I think I'll do it that way. You know, with the Nexus situation, in my opinion, they didn't create more battles in my world, even if they were working correctly. There is no golden Nexus in my world, so that's gone. But if they were, they put my alliance of 100 players, and not really a small alliance. Crow isn't really a small alliance, but we aren't a top 10. We're just out of that range. And we certainly aren't willing to. And I speak for we, because I put a poll out on the page, and we certainly aren't willing to battle that kind of coin for the kind of payouts that the Golden Nexuses are awarding for the Hyperion battle. So ours are parked, and I see many others parked. So I think they effectively removed that area for all the mid and not so mid alliances. They did narrow it down to you know, the top 10, and let's be honest, maybe the top 5 alliances in many worlds to having those prizes. So I'm not participating in that.
Alrighty then. Anybody got anything else? Or are we calling it?
Well, I think it's smart that he's wait to the end and just get what you need. There's no need to lose time over the two things. Is, you know, I mean, you maybe grab a turret or two just if you can or whatever. But like I said, wait to the end. If I was in your position, I'd do the exact same thing. I would not risk my shipyard and everything else, you know, and the stuff I'm working on just to get a couple prizes. So that's a smart move. But it's a shame, you know, it's got to be that way, and it's going to be that way for a lot of alliances. It really is. I mean, even the smaller alliances. Imagine the 25 and less guys. You know, they're of course they would never got a Nexus in the first place. But the thing is that they got the potential to get beat to death. You know, so it's just how are they going to well, I did notice my bubble didn't drop when I hit a replica this time, which I hope that's how it's supposed to be, because I was able to get a little bit of points out of it. It seemed like last time, every time I hit one, I would drop, and then I get smashed instantly. So, like I said, it's kind of for the lower guys, it's a grinding thing, or don't do it. Or for the coiners, it's, go all out, or play it smart and just get what you need in the end. That's the three options you got.
Yepper. All right, I'll tell you what. I'm pulling the plug because I said I didn't want to be on here until 8:45, and we're already almost there because it's 8:30 now. We've been on here for an hour and a half. I think we've said most things that need to be said. I'm sure as battle pirates we could go on for hours and hours and hours, but I'm not willing to sit here for that. So we're wrapping it up. Thanks, guys, for coming out and watching us. As always, we appreciate you. We appreciate seeing your participation in chat. And make sure you give us a thumbs up, subscribe, and send any of your friends to the page that aren't already there yet. And we will talk to you Saturday, when I'm sure we will have much more input on this bounty and these proposed changes coming up. And we'll have some different people on here to give their viewpoints. All right, we'll talk to you later. Bye.
Good night.
Good one.